Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Project Cars 2 today, going to be taking the Group A Sierra Cosworth around a very snowy Nurburgring. Again, another car requested for its, I believe, incredible turbo lag, and another one that is going to have a turbo turned up to 100%, and probably a turbo that we're not really going to get too close to actually activating. Not really got the downforce of a Group C car. Fairly damn powerful indeed, these Group A cars. However, yeah, going near the turbo is likely to be pretty dangerous. Likely to be pretty dangerous indeed. All it takes is the tiniest of mistakes and we will be in trouble. You see, I've only got one lap around the Nurburgring here. I've only got one lap to try and beat a 9:22.5. That's the lap time set by an Audi S1. V8 supercar at a 9:27. The Group C Mercedes, or the Group C Sauber I should say, a 9:35. Both the Sauber and the V8 supercar did go for a spin. So we're going to try and not spin a car with perhaps, I say, the most savage of turbos. I mean, let's face it, the Mercedes, pretty damn extreme. Pretty damn extreme indeed. I'm a little bit scared of this car, I'm going to be honest. It's, I should say over existing. Sure, you do that. I am slightly scared of this car, slightly terrified of this car, because yeah, while it hasn't got as much power as the Mercedes, it also doesn't have the downforce to go with it. Now, of course, it is with the automatic snowy setup with the ice tyres on the car, which are going to be needed. Are going to be needed indeed. Here we go, Sierra. Please don't be too terrifying to drive. I say that, it's likely. There's going to be a lot of short shifting and there's going to be a lot of stay away from the turbos. Don't do something too stupid with this car, especially not early on in the lap. Figure out, again, it's very much a case of figure out what you can do, figure out what the car has got through these opening sections. Well, the good news is it's not quite as terrifying as I expect. I mean, we're up to 85 miles an hour. Okay, nothing necessarily for this kind of car, but on the snow at the Nürburgring, yeah, a little bit on the sketchy side. It seems pretty good through these opening corners. Clonking curbs, probably not a good idea. Oh, there was already, I thought there was going to be a little bit of movement. There wasn't. Do I put it down into second? I think I'm going to have to down around here, because of course when we've not got, when we're so far off the boost, we then don't necessarily have a huge amount of acceleration. Okay, that got up towards, oh, there's some wheel spin as it started getting up towards, Christ, as it starts getting up towards that peak of the rev range. That's when it does go a little bit crazy. Now the good news is, yeah, grip through these turns isn't too bad. The ice tyres doing their thing. Although it's going to get fast down here. The car, whoa, there we go. It's going to start moving around 110 miles an hour on snow. There is plenty of power. Now there is also plenty of resistance from these ice tyres. It's never going to be setting a speed record driving around here. That much is for sure. But still 130 miles an hour on the snow in, oh god, awful conditions. Pretty scary. The good news is actually the back end's behaving itself a lot more than I thought it would here. I can turn in, like the Mercedes at the kind of medium speed sections. The Mercedes even, you know, just didn't have the rear grip at some of these corners. Whereas the Sierra, pleased to say, so far, it has a nice balance. We're not having the big stepping out moments from the rear of the car. Now, it doesn't look spectacular naturally around here, and truth be told, a lot of the laps probably won't look spectacular because you just don't have the grip to make it look, I say, have a grip to make it look spectacular. If you start sliding the car, you are in a huge amount of trouble. It's so difficult to catch them, and you lose stacks of time. I mean, there was a little bit of an oversteer moment there. There was a little bit of an oversteer moment. Briefly got to full throttle We have had, you know, some full throttle moments in this car. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I wanted to downshift there. No, the balance is still good. Oh, there we go. That was a turbo. That was a turbo. Just give me a little wake-up call. Just wanted to come and say hello. That there was plenty of power available. Try and do lunatic things. Oh, okay, there we go. We're fine. Just carefully does it with these big elevation changes, these big curbs around to hit. If you get things wrong, or if you even start vaguely upsetting the car, all it takes is, you know, a little brush on the curb, a little crest, a bump at the wrong point, and that will, tip it over the edge towards spinning, shall we say. Gently is going to do it around this next corner. We can probably have a third gear, try and get some power down in this car. Of course, through this section, the all-wheel drive Audi that we are comparing these race cars to, well, will be much quicker. I can jump on the throttle, I can be full throttle out of these turns. Even though the Audi won't have anywhere near the power of my Sierra here, I can try and use a lot more of it, whereas this, you simply can't. However, it is going to have the advantage in terms of straight line speed. Down the very, very long back straight, it will have the advantage in terms of straight line speed. We've just got to stay close enough. And I say down the main straight, there are plenty of other straights around here. The sheer power of the Sierra is going to be quite helpful. Up over the crest we go with a little bit of wheel spin again as we go up into 4. Oh, I don't like that. I want to try and make the most. Again, I've got to try and make the most in terms of the speed, in terms of the straight line stuff, because that's where the time is going to be found in this car. Maybe a little bit with some actual corner speed, probably not in this. It doesn't really have the downforce of some of the other cars. Again, much like the Sauber, that can probably make some corner time with its downforce, whereas this has some, but not enough to really not enough to really instill me with confidence, especially not around here. I'm trying to get with the 100% boost, trying to build up confidence and get it to a point where I can let it go when there's just it's little corners, little crests and so on, and I know if the turbo kicks at the wrong point, I will be in a lot of trouble. It's only 112 mile an hour all the way down that straight. I just couldn't really bring the car up to a more sensible level because it's going to do that. That's a relatively minor clonk. That is a relatively minor clonk from the Sierra, and that's why I can't bring the car. I just can't go for any more RPM than that unless we are in a perfect straight line. As I said, the good news elsewhere though, that balance through the corner is not bad. That balance through the corners is not bad whatsoever. Just don't... Christ, don't let it do anything mad with the turbos. Into the carousel we go. I always have horrible fears that I'm going to turn it, because it's a lot of steering lock through there, and I don't want to use too much steering lock at all around here. We've seen it with previous cars. The front end will actually bite quite well. Will turn in very well to these tighter corners, and the rear end often doesn't have the grip to go with it. And the carousel, I'm always terrified. We will go and turn into that corner, and actually turn in with a lot of steering lock very quickly, and it'll upset the rear, of course, because it's banked. You kind of get away with a lot more through there. This has been a lap of coasting off the turbo, and then as soon as it starts getting near to that boost threshold, change up a gear, and then back to coasting. We're in another gear, we're just coasting through the corners, thread the car through here, because I just daren't go near the turbo again. We've already had one sort of turbo-related incident, and I don't really want to have another one. Now, this is where things went a little awry with the V8 supercar. It was kind of the downhill turn-in section where we had some problems. This bit here, I think I clipped the curb on the inside, what caused problems with the V8 supercar. Now, I can kind of get away with slightly more throttle. Oh, I'm going to go down again because we're going to start climbing back up a hill. Here we go. Find some boost, but not too much boost. You are driving it on an absolute knife edge. It's more ferocious in some ways than the Sauber. And I wasn't expecting to say that, but it is that little bit more terrifying than the Sao. I actually kept it on boost for a while there. Well, at least near boost. Whether it was whether it's quite on it or not, I don't know. Can't do anything through here. We've just got to be patient. Just got to be patient. These big laggy engines. I mean, I know why you guys want me to drive them, because they're incredibly difficult. I don't think they're going to be the way to go quickly around, just especially not. I'm looking at the lap time. It's not good. It is not looking good for the Sierra. I just can't push it any harder. As soon as we do that, and I've got to change gear because it's going to have a crash otherwise. Yeah, we are up to the 830 mark, and we're not even on the back straight here. But there's been a lot of kind of 4,000 RPM noises from the Sierra. There's been a lot of 4,000 RPM noises from this, because that's about all I can do with it, all I can hold with it. It is just, you just can't use any speed in this car, any power in this car whatsoever. We're going to head on to the back straight, and then we can unleash the taps of the Sierra a little bit. Not a huge amount, but we can unleash it slightly. Whoa! There we go. That's even went in a vague straight line without too much in terms of bumps. It's still tricky. I am now at a full throttle at 150 miles an hour, waiting for the turbos to kick in and spin the wheels in fifth. We've lost to the Audi, we've lost to the V8 supercar. We're not going to beat the Sauber. That much is for sure. Up to 172 miles an hour down the straight. Do I trust it to have grip through here? Yes. No, we don't trust it. Christ, 140 miles an hour. The back end really wanted to let go. Now, that wasn't a turbo-related scare. That was just the lack of rear-end grip from the car. I mean, that's not a particularly big corner. It's not a particularly big corner. We are not going to do it. We're not going to do it sub 10 minutes in this. That's, yeah, you just can't use the power. You see, I try to give it some welly towards the finish line, and you just can't. 10 minute 11. I mean, I knew this one would be tough. I'm actually surprised at the lack of speed. This is almost an entire minute down. I mean, it's 50 seconds down on the Audi S1, and it's because of the way the power is delivered. It is delivered so ferociously, so quickly at high RPMs, you can't use it. So you've got to be at lower RPMs, which then make it very slow. And especially with the crests, with the bumps, with the hills in the car, you just can't utilize any of the power. I mean, it is some 400, 500 horsepower car, which if you try and use any of it here, because we were probably driving that on, what are we, about 150 horsepower most of the way? Yeah, a couple of hundred horsepower, because we just can't use all of that power higher up. It's just undrivable delivery, pretty much. I was trying to be as smooth as I could with the throttle. I just tried to, find ways of getting to there and keeping some acceleration going, but that's going to happen so often. And at the twisty sections, it doesn't have the rear end grip to deal with. I don't think anything would have the rear end grip necessarily to deal with that. It wasn't the most spectacular, and it wasn't the fastest. You certainly have to work. You certainly really have to work with the Sierra to get it around here. It will go last on our leaderboard, a fair way off the bottom of the table. Whether there will be anything that is more difficult to drive and thus slower around here, we will have to wait and see over the coming weeks. But yeah, for now, as much as I like the Sierra, as much as I like the Group A cars, this is going to go to the bottom, and I say rightfully so. That is where our Sierra is going to go, and will maybe stay there for a little while. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.